Hello and welcome, welcome, welcome to the Aware Show's NeuroSummit. This is Lisa Garr. Hello, and I am so grateful that you are here today. We are going to do something so fun and so experiential on the call today. So if you're listening via the phone lines or if you're watching us on Google Hangout, you can do these exercises along with us. We're going to actually do exercises on the show today because 80% of people today walking around, 80% of you listening, have neck and shoulder pain and back pain as well. And there are so many different things that we can do about this. And it's just something that we don't necessarily have to live with, but there's easy fixes that we can go through throughout our day. If we're driving, if you're sitting at your desk all day, if you're cooking, whatever you're doing, there's ways and exercises that our incredible guest here, Anat Baniel, who's one of the world's leading authorities in finding ways to access the brain to overcome pain and limitation, to increase vitality. And she has helped so many children as well, even children with special needs, all walks of life, with these techniques. So anybody can do them. And she is here to share with us her incredible methods called the Anat Baniel methods. Welcome, Anat. Thank you for being here.
I'm very excited, and I love this Google Hangout, and I love you, and I'm looking forward.
Oh, yes, I'm looking very forward, and thank you, everybody, for joining us. So I'm just going to have you just for a second call your attention to your bodies. Just for a moment, call your attention to your body and notice anywhere inside your body where you might be feeling pain. It might be emotional pain, it might be physical pain, but just take a deep breath in and call your attention to right here and right now, because it's very important that you're in the present moment for this conversation. So let go of what has just happened and let go of what's going to happen and just be right here, right now. And just tap the back of your hands. Get into your physical body. Be aware of this body that you have. Be grateful for this body that you have. And Anat?
Yes.
I would love you to tell us, first of all, what do you experience when you work with people? What is the main complaint that you hear from people when you're working, when they come to see you?
Well, the main complaint is usually around pain and the sense of limitation or the loss of function. That's the main one. And then underneath it is the desires or dreams of people to achieve certain things that they have not been able to do.
So it's physical and emotional.
Oh, yeah, and cognitive sometimes.
And
people
cognitive.
feel like they want to be, actually a very important one, they want to be more alert and smarter. Actually, people tell me they want to be more intelligent.
Well, quicker thinking.
And better thinking.
Yes.
More creative, more skilled at thinking, yeah.
Interesting. So I love having Anat on this neuro series because Anat talks about how to actually combine fitness and neuroplasticity. She is the how on all of this, how to bring it into the body through connecting the neurons in the brain to movement in the body. And you can actually tell me a little bit more, Anat, how do those two things relate?
Well, movement is what I call the language of the brain. It is through movement that the brain gets information to organize itself and form itself from pre-birth, actually, and certainly after birth, and throughout life. Most adults, actually starting at usually young age, do movement in a more automatic rote way and lose the enormous resource that movement can be to wake up the brain, to create new possibilities, to create new connections. So movement is a treasure trove of possibilities for aliveness and pain relief and gaining new skills, both physical and mental and emotional, but we have to know how to take advantage. It's not just by moving without understanding how to use movement, it doesn't happen as much.
And Anat has some of the clearest distinctions that I've ever heard around specific movement that really, really does relieve pain. I mean, you will be able to experience this and increase mental acuity, and you'll be able to experience this on today's call. But I want to ask you, Anat, tell me a little bit about your story and your teacher and your mentor and how you got to do what you do.
Okay, I'd love to. So my background is in dance and in psychology, clinical psychology, and also I studied statistics, which I find very useful in terms of understanding the brain. And I was going to be a clinical psychologist, but I didn't like the disproportion between words and immediacy of the experience. And I found my teacher, with whom I did his work as a very young child around dance, Dr. Feldenkrais, and that was an enormous, gift to me in my life and now to other people. He understood way, way back that it's the brain that needs to change. So if we want to change ourselves, we need to change and inform the brain to get new patterns, new maps, new connections. And he also understood that movement is a very powerful and can be primarily the main vehicle to do that. And I took his work and I started working first with mostly musicians, dancers, athletes, high performers, also because of my own background. And at a certain point, a child was brought to me that was diagnosed as having global brain damage. So then the kids started coming because the miracles started happening with the kids. And between the two, the adults and the children, I started asking, what about what I do really works? And that's how I came with the distinctions of the 9 essentials. And I just came back from giving lessons to a 6-month-old and a 7-year-old and 11-year-old just before this interview. And both the need for the work in those young people, the 2 girls are fundamentally healthy, but the mother understands they could use it. And the child has issues, the baby. But what I experience over and over again is the miraculous. It's really miraculous, the potency when we know to access it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's cognitive fitness is what you do, cognitive movement. Can you share a little bit about, because I got chills when you said that you helped a child with global brain damage.
Yeah.
To move again?
To move.
Wow.
It wasn't a game to it. I mean, I started working with her at 13 months old. That was the first kid, way, way back. Now we've done it many times. And she has actually parts of the brain missing. I won't go into a lot of details. And that stopped her from being able to develop. And it wasn't really a global brain damage, but it was a global brain stop. And very important, she was missing about 1/3 of the cerebellum. That's a very important part in the development of movement and coordination and space perception and speech and everything. So, but we were able to guide her to start feeling herself, and basically the brain was starting to map movement and make sense of itself. It just used alternative areas of the brain, must have. Because now she's married, 2 MA degrees, walking, and has a business of her own, taking care of dogs.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I've not heard that story before, and now that brings me to tears. You are kidding. You're able to do that again and again and again?
Oh yeah. I mean, she was the beginning. In many ways, she defined my career.
Wow.
Because, the good thing was I was very, very young, and I wasn't trained to work with children like her. So the big gift was I had no idea what's not possible. I didn't know that certain things were impossible, so I just went for it. And it wasn't like in one day. It was over a period of a few years, but I just kept looking for change and for positive change. And then change builds upon itself. And then later, Lisa, I thought, can do the same thing with adults, can do the same thing with aging. You start reversing the process from the negative direction to the positive, and then the miracles happen. And the reason I call it miracles is because I can't predict how far or how much people will do better. And almost always when I work with people, they surprise me. They do way more than I knew to think or intend for them.
I'm sure over the 30 years you have found a reason why that happens, Anat.
Could you say that again? There was a little
Yeah,
stop.
I mean, you say that you see the miracles occur in people, but you've got to know that what you're doing works in order for those miracles to happen.
I really do by now. In the beginning, I was surprised for about the first 13 years. I just kept getting surprised.
Mm-hmm.
However, what, and I also have a sense of I know what about it works. So it can be very, very deliberate. And what's also very exciting is that people can learn and start using the same principles in their own life. So they don't need to come back to me or one of my teachers over and over again. They can, but they don't have to.
Well, I mean, Dr. Feldenkrais, your mentor, was, I mean, an incredible figure in the field of movement and kinesiology and anything that had to do with the body. But for you to carry his work forward like this is a gift, and it is a gift for you to be on this series with us. It is a gift for people. I'm sure that the listeners are learning through your story what an incredible value it is to have you here today. So thank you.
Thank you.
I just have to tell you, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your work, Anat. Thank you for your contribution to the world. I mean, you really have made significant changes in people's lives. So from that grand level of how you help people, how can you help those that are walking around with neck pain and back pain? I mean, we'll talk a little bit later about the significant differences that you've made with children with autism and on the spectrum and had them regain typical functionality. But for us that are in the 80% of the people listening that have nagging back pain, migraine headaches that are debilitating, stiffness and joints and so forth, what are some of the movements that we can do that can start to alleviate some of that pain?
Great. I mean, there's lots that we can do. And I just want to say before we start doing specific movements that I can show people, it's very important for people to understand that I would like them to move very slowly and very gently. So it's not stretching, it's not force, it's actually the opposite. Because what we're looking is for them to become sensitive to what they feel. It's very important that you're sensitive to what you feel as you move and that you're able to perceive finer and finer changes in your body, because that's the real source of information for the brain. So it's not the force. The more there is force and abruptness in movement, the less the brain has to work with, and the more it actually needs to go into a defensive mode, protecting the body from potential injury. So working through pain is not a good idea, and working hard is not a good idea. I know it's counterintuitive because people think they need to force and stretch and beat up that pain out of themselves somehow, but it's exactly the opposite. So I'm going to remind that as I give the instructions. So the very first thing, and we're going to do little sections, you know, and maybe I'll do 2 or 3 of them, and then you guide me when you want to go back to talking more generally. But the first thing that people have when they feel difficulty in the neck is simply restriction in turning the neck. And I'm going to guide people through, and I'm going to take my name off for a moment so people can also watch what I do, okay?
And I want to mention to people that a lot of what we're doing here is going to be increasing blood flow and circulation to the brain. I mean, it's literally bringing that oxygenation back into the brain and into the blood cells through this particular intentional type of movement. So you'll notice the differences.
Yeah, that's the point. And I'm taking off my name for now, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. While you're doing, okay, great.
And I'm going to get myself a little taller here on the chair.
You do that. While you're doing that, I'm just going to let people know that there's a website where Anat has put together hours and hours, and I mean hours of instructional videos that are available for you on the special offer, which is theawareshow.com/Anat, A-N-A-T. And if you go to that website, theawareshow.com/Anat, then you'll be able to see the offer is incredible. I mean, all of these CDs and everything, DVDs and everything, these are going to become available to you, and they're actually downloadable. So you don't have to wait for shipping. You don't have to deal with that. It's just simply a wonderful, I mean, incredible offer that we've got here There's actually both physical and digital. I'm learning as I go along, but these are all available to you. So we'll get as much as we can into the next 45 minutes, but to take it to the next level and to really deepen your pain relief, to deepen your relief, it's all there on the offer for you. Okay, so Anat, thank you.
Okay, so, and it's for pain relief, but it's also for enhancement of function. So you don't just relieve pain, you do everything better. That's why the pain goes away, because you get better organized.
Okay.
So it's sort of a double win there. So the first thing is what I'm going to ask, and I'm going to do it as I talk, is I'm going to ask you to very gently and slowly turn your head to the left and turn your head to the right. And just, again, turn your head to the left again and see how far do you see. So I see right now, my window, and then I come back to the middle, and then I turn my head to the right, and I see the light switch on the wall, and I come back. And now we're going to focus. We're going to do different things just on one side at a time, because then you can feel the difference even more. So you see, I'm putting my right hand behind me, and I'm leaning on it. So if you can see, my body is moving a little bit back, and I'm putting my chin, it's a kind of a funny-looking movement, on the back of my left hand. And now, very gently, I'm starting to turn my head and the arm and the shoulders, everything together, and I'm bringing it back. And as I'm doing it, I'm actually scanning my body to what it is that I feel as I move. And I'm still leaning on my right hand. So I don't have to hold my back up fully. So I'm a little slouched. Can you see that? I'm a little slouched. And I'm with a chin like that. And I'm turning myself to the left. I feel my ribs moving. And you may feel it or not. Just notice. Do you feel any movement in your hips?
I do, yeah. I feel movement in my right hip, but I have I have a right hip injury. And by the way, everybody listening, watching, do this on your own as well. Gina down there is doing it. Hi, Gina.
Yes. And now, twist like that and stay there. And the thing that I'm going to want you to do now is so my arm's going to stay where it is, my shoulder's going to stay, but only my head is going to come back to the middle, looking forward, and then gently going back to the hand. And coming back to the middle. And even though it's a small movement, make sure it's very light. Can you feel any movement more than just your neck? Let's do it one more time. And see, maybe there's a little movement that you can feel in your spine, and maybe not. Don't worry about it. And now, move the head more to the left and back to the middle, and more to the left and back to the middle. And now take everything back to the middle, the way we were, leaning on the right hand behind you. And now let's twist around over to the left and see if you're twisting a little more and a little easier.
Oh, yeah, I can see fully behind me now. I was not able to do that before. I was only able to see just slightly off to the left.
Wonderful. So sit down and rest for a minute. I try to make the chair not roll from under me. And just feel, so I can see myself on the image, I can feel how my right shoulder now is actually lower than the left. You might feel that one shoulder is lower than the other. You might feel that there's more weight on one hip than the other. Those little changes, seemingly, maybe not meaningful, actually are the mirror into your brain. They are the immediate changes that just happen. So now let's just do a little bit more here.
Okay.
And we're going to turn again like this to the left, leaning on the right hand behind. And now we're going to do a movement because it's very important to bring the pelvis actually and the whole spine into action to help the neck get rid and the shoulders get rid of pain. So if you can put your hand over your head, if you have problems with that, you can just put your hand, on the shoulder or on your chest, anything that works for you. But otherwise, put it on the top of your head. And now move the right ear towards the right shoulder and press a little bit on the right foot so that your right hip comes a bit off the chair.
Okay.
And now do the same thing, left ear to the left shoulder. On this side, it's a little more challenging to maybe just lighten the hip. As you tilt the head very slowly, the spine bends one way and the other. Tush rocks.
So it rocks. You're rocking back and forth in this motion. Now, Anat, that's interesting.
Leave it alone. Come back and rest for one moment. And we're going to do one little variation that makes a big change for the brain. And that is we're going to lean again and twist around to the left, however far you go now. Stay there. And now take the head to the right and look over to the right as far as it's easy to do. And then take the head to the left and look over to the left. And now, when you take the head to the right, look with your eyes to the left. When you take your head to the left, look with your eyes to the right.
That's a great eye exercise. It feels really good.
Yeah, so you move the head and the eyes in opposite direction. And now come back to the middle. Lean on the chin on the back of the hand and twist around yourself and see how far you're twisting.
Oh, that's fabulous. That's fascinating. I can see all the way back to the other side that I was looking at from the right.
Yeah. And now, we're almost done for this little sequence of three movement variations. Simply turn your head to the left and feel how far you go and feel your ribs, your spine, everything now knows to go there. And now turn your head to the right and see it probably turns a little better too, but not quite as much.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I just love it because, now tell us what happened cognitively there. Why did we increase our range of motion, like double our range of motion? What happened there?
Yeah. First of all, I want to just accentuate that you doubled your range of motion. Some people it's even a little more, some people it's a little less, but it's a very dramatic change. It's because your brain got new information with which to organize the movement in a more efficient and accurate way, in a more harmonious way to the structure of the body. What else happened in terms of the body, the organization, the movements, the variations informed the brain and reminded it to bring in the pelvis, the lower back, the spine, because every movement we do, even the smallest one when we play the piano, for instance, the whole body is involved. We might focus on a part of the body, but the brain has to organize the whole self, our whole physical self, our emotional self, our intention, our idea of what we do. We don't understand. It's incredibly complex. What we did, like for instance, with taking the eyes and the head in opposite directions, is that the visual cortex is about a third of the cortex. It's a big part of the brain. So the eyes are small, but functionally it's really, really big inside the brain. And when you get most people always move the eyes and the head together, like glued together. But the moment you differentiate it and you separate it, it frees up huge amount of stuck old connections and sort of moves things around and gets the opportunity to do it better. And it's instantaneous. I mean, it's amazing how powerful it is.
Now, can this help those eye movements, by the way? Anybody on this call who's over 40, you notice that your eyes start to degenerate after, I mean, it's almost like a light switch goes on and all of a sudden you can't see anything close to you anymore and it has to give. Now, are there exercises did these types of exercises help with cognitive function? I mean, with eye function?
Well, there are different levels. With the eye function in terms of organizing the eyes and having ease and less headaches and so on, for sure. In terms of vision, it varies and it will take more work. My eyesight has this work.
Your eyesight is what?
Has improved.
Has improved
tremendously from doing this work. But I have not focused on that, so I can't give a clear answer. I can't give a promise.
Okay, no, that's fine. So let's talk a lot about, okay, so listeners here are asking about the migraine headaches, because I did mention that earlier. And I mean, once again, I will tell you that hours and hours of these incredible exercises, laying down on the floor with groups of people through examples of videos, are all on this special offer, which is theawareshow.com/Anat. It's a huge offer. We'll talk about it in a second. But let's talk about the listener who needed help with the migraines, okay?
Okay, well, migraines, I can speak about my personal experience. I started suffering migraines when I was around 11 years old.
Wow.
And I would get them, you know, regularly, every month or twice a month. And it's associated also to the hormonal changes. And when I started working with Dr. Feldenkrais, the migraines started shifting, the pattern started shifting, then they got shorter, then they went away.
Wow.
So, totally. And now if I'm really eating imbalanced and I'm really stressed, I might get a migraine, but I just close my eyes and I focus because I know the experience from the past, getting out of it, and usually within a minute to maximum 3, it's gone.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
This is totally prevent it 100%, but it rarely happens, and it's gone. I just can make it go away.
Okay. So, can you teach us that?
This will come to people through doing the work. Like you said, there's tons of materials.
Okay.
They will start experiencing, because it's a pretty
lengthy,
complex layer change. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, it's like anything. It's like when you get the body's base level to a certain set of alignment, then the other specific techniques will work better on top of it, right?
Yeah. Because, you know, some things are great and you can do, like, so what I showed you, that immediately will start freeing the neck. But everything that we really want to change, we have to do a whole body, a whole system change. It just can happen very efficiently.
Okay.
It just takes participation in the process.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what you have put together here. I mean, and there's stuff on here that you guys don't even see yet, because we're adding, Anat's adding value as, like, by the hour, she's added value to this offer here. So if you go to theawareshow.com/Anat, A-N-A-T, the incredible Anat Baniel has put together this offer for us. So there is a whole introductory method for healthy backs. Now, spinal pain, back pain, lower back pain, big problem here in people that sit at desks and so forth. There are hours and hours, and I mean hours of exercises that you can do on there. There's also the method for the healthy neck and shoulders, and each one of these two DVD sets is at least 10 hours worth of video instructions. And these, again, you can get them all downloadable, or you can get the physical offer as well. There's the healthy back scoliosis and pain relief, again, 10+ hours worth of material there. There's the new fitness 2-day workshop, which we're going to talk about some of the fitness myths, and she's going to talk about that on there and bust a couple of fitness myths that I mean, one of them was that you don't have to exercise like a maniac in order to be fit, right?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, the opposite. You want a good brain. Good brain goes a long way. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And there's the Move into Life 2-day workshop, and also the breathing, posture, and pain relief 2-day workshop. I mean, this is such a huge thing. And there's something on here that you not even see yet. As we're adding it, as our engineers are busy at work adding it, you can see the it's the desk. What is it called? The desk
trainer.
What is that?
Desk Trainer is an online interactive program, animated program, but it interacts with the user of 40 different 5 to 7 minute movement lessons, so kind of like the one we just did, and it's built to help with shoulder pain, lower back pain,
neck pain,
and wrist, you know, and the repetitive injury to the wrists, and I call those brain pops, actually, because it's a few variations and it immediately gets things better. I have lots of people that like sit and then you feel pain in your shoulder, you just do a lesson, and you can do it either according to your complaint or you can just do it straight through. You have a freedom to use them as you wish. And very, very powerful. And again, it builds upon itself. That means the more you do them, the more you're already moving well, and then you're building a little next improvement, next improvement, next improvement. Very, very powerful, very easy to do. You do it sitting in a chair by your computer.
Okay, great. All right, so I'm asking the listeners, as you're listening to this call today and you're watching the show on Google Hangouts, and by the way, if you want to flip over to the Hangout, you'll be able to see it if you watch your email for the replay. Just click on the link, and the video is right there in the replay. If you are on Google Plus, you can get to the Hangout by going to theawareshow.com/hangouts. So that's a plural Hangouts. All right, so I want to hear from you listening. What is it that you want help with right now? What can Anat do for us? One of the big, huge things I'm seeing here is, wow, there's lower back pain and there's circulation to the brain. Circulation to the brain. Which one would you like to work on first?
Well, how about we do something for the lower back?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, great.
Okay, so, and I'm going to combine it. It's actually going to combine together with the shoulder a little bit. We're going to do movement. This time we're going to move with the right side of the body so we can, again, feel the difference happening more dramatically. And what I'm going to ask for you to do is simply, in front of you, lift the right arm just as far as comfortable and lower it. You see, and I move very slowly, very gently, and then I lean the hand back on my thigh. And now lift the arm up, and then lower it. And you're going to lift the arm up again one time, except I'm going to ask you while you lift, feel what's moving, not just the arm, but what parts of yourself are moving. Do you feel any movement between your shoulder blades, in the spine? Or perhaps do you feel any movement in the middle of the back? Is your pelvis moving at all?
I'm mostly noticing the front of the shoulder. Anat?
What we're going to do is I'm going to ask you to do a very simple movement and do it very, very gently, especially if you have lower back pain. I'm going to ask you to simply slouch. This is something pretty much anybody can do. So you slouch a little bit, and then you come back. But come back by rolling your pelvis forward. So I'm going to demonstrate what not to do for a second. Most people come back, they do this. They take the head back and they pick up the chest like that. So they shorten the neck and they stiffen the chest. You're going to stay just like you are, hanging out there like Google Hangouts. And you're just going to roll the pelvis forward and feel how that actually gets you tall, gets the spine tall.
I just cracked my lower back that way. I just felt it adjust. That's interesting.
Excellent. So just like a trip to the chiropractor. And now we're going to do something that very quickly, you're going to imagine you're sitting on a clock. And the front of the clock is 12 o'clock, a little clock. And the back of the clock is roughly where your tailbone is. And I'm moving my pelvis now to 12 o'clock and to 6 o'clock.
So should we be breathing in and out at this whole time?
You better breathe in and out the whole time or we're going to lose you. But you can breathe any way you want at this point. Usually it's easier to breathe out when you round the back and breathe in when you come forward. But you can do it any way you want. And now stay in the middle. And you're going to go to, so 3 o'clock is to your right, which on the screen, of course, looks to the left. And 9 o'clock, you shift the weight to the left. So you see, it's a bit the movement we did before with the ear to the shoulder. So in order to rock the weight like that, the pelvis, and do it very gently, very easily.
Great. That is great.
And to 12 o'clock, to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4, 5, and 6, and back to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12. and stop for a second. Just give your brain a chance to go like, oh, all this new information, lots of fun. And now I'm going to ask you, we're going to stay now only on the right side, so we're going to do the right side of the clock like that, but round your back, that's in the middle, and now you're going to lift your right arm, and you're going to take the clock over to 3 o'clock. And you come back. And feel if your arm lifts easier.
Yeah, it really does.
And higher, and with a lot less tension in the neck.
Why is that?
I'll explain in a minute. Now, pull your belly in, hold the belly in. Don't let the spine and the pelvis move, and lift the right arm and feel what happens to your shoulder and neck. Do you feel that tightness?
Yeah, it popped.
Do it one more time, and then you'll start feeling a little pain.
No, thanks.
And now, take your pelvis to 3 o'clock, lift the arm up.
Ah.
That's what gracious dancers do. There you go. You feel? And now, just sit and feel what happened to your right shoulder and what you're sitting more on. And feel if your back, if you had pain, if there's a little change, maybe a little less pain.
Yes,
there you go.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, absolutely. So that's the first thing that we did.
Ah.
Now, and feel, by the way, I feel it, so I'm remembering to point it out, that I'm sitting upright, but more upright with less trying to sit upright. Can you feel it, that you're sort of popped up? Kind of without trying harder?
Yes.
That's what we're looking for. We're looking for a brain that's alert and says, I'm up, and it knows what to do.
I noticed that I got happier and a little giggly. A little
good. It's wonderful. You know, this 6 months old I worked on today, this was the first time I worked on that baby. And it was very not happy, you know, not able to move. And at the end of the lesson, it was just laughing and laughing and laughing.
Oh my gosh!
Better. We were the same.
Are we increasing serotonin? Are we increasing dopamine? What are we doing here, neurochemical?
I have no idea.
It's great.
I'll talk to you about the brain, what I know. We can assume that at least we're balancing the hormones and the metabolism. We're improving it, but I've not done research on it, and I don't know.
Well, I appreciate you not speaking from something that you don't know. Thank you very much. But it is, I do. I feel that well, I mean, this takes us back to the oxygenation in the brain concept, and I am sure, I don't even know how you would study that, but people, I mean, I'm feeling a definite difference. I'm noticing people are too. People are saying more flexible. People are saying more happier. Very good. Interesting. Yeah. I'm just maybe because we're all happy.
Well, it's
more energy.
More energy, but happiness is the sense of well-being, and it's kind of like we're ticking the way we were built to tick. So a lot of this, and the way I understand what I do, the work I do, and how it influences people and myself, is that usually we think of removing blocks or removing, issues. And I have discovered over the years that it's about creating something that wasn't there yet. It's the next level of evolution of self. It's the next level of differentiation and complexity in the brain and refinement. I really think that as human beings we're built to grow and refine, and I'm quoting here a very well-known scientist, biologist, Gould, who said, we are born to die unfinished. Human beings are born to die unfinished. That means the brain is an open conversation that's really very readily susceptible to the next stage of development of itself. And we start a lot of suffering and a lot of pain, both emotional, physical, and mental anguish and so on, when we stop growing, because it's against our nature. Our true nature is to continue growing. And here we're doing it very directly to the brain. That's the most potent way, as far as I'm concerned, to do it, and giving it the opportunity to do its job.
So restoring our health, and these are different tools and techniques on how to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And also, I mean, having a healthy body is having a healthy brain. This is neurochemically supporting yourself when you have movement. It's been proven over and over again with exercise, and how that does release serotonin and dopamine and all sorts of different happy neurochemicals. So this is another way of doing that type of exercise. And the cool thing in that offer is that there's all those deskercises that you can do. You can do this from the convenience of your own computer. I've watched that program. It is so cute. It's an animated program, and it's over 28 different deskercises you can do. Okay, I like that word, huh? All right, so go to, okay, I'm going to interview people to the offer here, which is theawareshow.com/Anat, A-N-A-T. And again, I mean, this is probably a collective 40 hours worth of viewing material where you'll be able to see Anat in an instructional situation, in a classroom situation, with every walk of life in the classroom. You have young, you have old, you have everyone in the classroom doing these exercises. They're subtle so that anyone can do them, and they're also strengthening. But the most important thing is, as Anat has said several times here, is that you're increasing your cognitive function by teaching the brain new things. Someone is asking here if this could help her husband with the early signs of dementia. Do you think that this could help with something like that?
I'm quite certain that it could. I've done a lot of work with degenerative diseases like Parkinson's and multiple sclerosis. And in a certain way, if we don't enhance our mental, physical activity as we get older, we're having not like a clinical dementia, but we're having regression, right? So it's a sort of a, and the reversal of the signs of aging through this kind of work has been proven scientifically to be really, really, really powerful. So yes, absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Huge yes.
Very good. So there is a 2 DVD set on healthy backs, the Anat Baniel method for healthy backs, a 2 DVD set on healthy neck and shoulders to release that. I mean, we just saw how we increased our range of motion double, triple by just one small little exercise here. Once again, once you get this offer, all of these products will be available to you on a digital download. So you'll be able to watch these MP4s instantly. And then there's also the for healthy back, scoliosis, and pain relief. So that again is a 2 DVD set. It's all digital videos, and also the new fitness 2-day workshop. Now, Anat, I mentioned earlier you're going to talk about a few fitness myths, and this is something that really caught my ear. Tell me about a few of them.
Okay, so let me just, first of all, the flat stomach myth. So people are, or some people call it core, but most people translate it to mean that you want to have a really tight, actively tight abdominal muscles all the time. Now, I'm not talking about having a flabby stomach and dead stomach, but the thing that we did, like the clock, the little clock thing that we just did, the power center, I call the whole pelvis, the muscles that are attached to the center of the body, to the pelvis, are the most powerful muscles in the body. So in every movement that we do, these muscles should proportionally do the brunt of the work, proportionally. So if we lift an arm, that's how I've figured that out working with hundreds of classical musicians that had, you know, bursitis, tendinitis, couldn't play anymore from pain. I mean, and their careers were on the line. And I'm talking some of the top musicians in the world. I realized very quickly that they were working too much the smaller muscles and not enough the bigger muscles. So the center of the body is the power center. However, the brain needs to be able to reciprocate the working of the different muscles in different directions depending what we do. When we contract the abdomen muscles actively, neurophysiologically the brain is built in such a way that the muscles on the opposite side, in this case it's the back muscles, are inhibited from contracting. And in order, all the upright, like jumping and running and all those activities require primarily the working of the back muscles and not the abdominal muscles. The abdominal muscles take us down, the back muscles take us up. It's not 100% accurate, there's internal abdominals, but on the whole, if you play tennis, all the powerful movements that you do, you actually need to release the belly. That's why in martial artists, some of the strongest, fastest, swiftest, most dangerous people around in that sense, have the hara. They have like Buddha. By the way, Buddha, who really reached full enlightenment, show me one Buddha statue with a flat stomach. The Buddha has a round, beautiful stomach. It looks like a baby. His face, his happiness, all that thing. So we want to have powerful abdominal muscles to contract them when we need them. But we need to have a brain that's available, that's part of the health of the brain, that it can go in any direction. It can contract in any direction. And that's a myth that has been causing a lot of people a lot of trouble. And they don't know it.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so some of the questions coming in, and once again, the offer there, once you get the offer, it is all available to you on a download there. It's an enormously huge offer, and the desk trainer is not even on there yet, the desk sizes. So we'll get that on there as you get the offer. So someone else is asking about, let's see here, how to have clearer thinking. Is there a way to, an exercise that you can do, increasing oxygenation to the brain, clearer thinking?
Okay, clearer thinking comes from through my work. There are many ways to do it, and it's not just my method. But the way, and I'm going to do a little exercise that is not directly on the breathing. We can do another one if you have, a couple more minutes later. But to show people the thinking gets clearer when we're able to notice and hold fine little distinctions. So thinking gets blurry when we only have crude distinctions. And we kind of can't make sense of the world with those few crude distinctions. So we want to refine the way we work with our brain. And I also want to demonstrate for people how much it's the brain and the information that's coming to the brain that makes the difference also in the bigger part. So it's sort of disproportionate. We can do tiny movements with huge changes. So can I do a little movement exercise now? Would you like me to?
Definitely, yes.
That smile was convincing. So I'm going to get closer to the desk, and I'm going to lean my elbow on the desk. You don't need to see it, but just trust me. I'm leaning on my dominant arm is my right one. And I'm going to ask you to do it with your dominant hand and arm.
Okay.
And the first movement, so my fingers are sort of free. And what I'm doing is very gently letting my hand sink down, keeping the forearm up, but in the wrist. So it's bending the wrist and then bringing it slowly down. And by the way, listen to your breathing behind in your back, in the ribs on the right side and the left side. And my thought is when I'm sinking the hand is that it's like in honey. So the weight of the hand goes down really slowly. And I don't have to push it down. I just let the weight go down slowly.
It just happens. Okay.
Yeah, and then very gently I'm pulling it back up out of the honey. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the hand like that, and I'm going to very gently bring the thumb and the index finger towards each other and away. And I suggest for people to close your eyes and feel that delicate, delicate, delicate movement. And see as you do it, if you can, first of all, feel it in the fingers. And some of you might notice that the fingers start feeling much longer, much bigger when you pay attention to them like that. And see if you can feel anything in your forearm, any kind of movement, muscles, or something in your forearms. And now do the same movement and take the thumb and the middle finger towards each other until they touch, and feel that touch. The contact when it touches, and then it separates. And then you do it again and it touches, and then it separates. And then you do the same thing with a ring finger, the fourth finger and the thumb, and you bring it away. Delicate, delicate, delicate movement like that.
It's almost involuntary. I mean, if you if you don't, I mean, yeah, it's almost involuntary movement.
It's very, very voluntary, but it's extremely light. It's almost effortless. I think maybe
That's the word, yeah.
it's effortless. And then the little finger and the thumb, and separate it. And again, the little finger and the thumb, and separate it. And now, feel, by the way, if the fingers are a little bit more apart than they were before, that means a lot of tension in the hand will go away. People hold way, way too much tension in their hand. And now, slowly, let the hand sink down and feel if the wrist bends more. That you got a little bit more movement in the wrist. And now, let it hang down like that. And very gently rotate the hand outward and inward. And notice as you rotate the hand like that, whether you start feeling some movement in your ribs and in your spine.
I was just noticing that, yeah.
You see, so there's that, remember that little rocking movement we did with the pelvis?
Uh-huh.
Now the brain is using it for the movement of the hand in space. You see, that's how I mean that one lesson builds on the other.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And then you see, and also, that's what I do with pianists and violin players and conductors. Many of them, their careers saved and improved. And now just sit for a moment and just put your hands on your thighs and feel, first of all, whether the shoulder is gone way down and is wider. This is an amazing lesson. It's by the way, also on Desk Trainer. There's a version of that. And it's a little longer, a little more variations. But this is one of the best ways to get rid of neck and shoulder pain.
Really? Through your hand movement?
Absolutely, because it's all functionally connected as one picture, you know, in the brain. And now lift this arm up now and feel what happens when you lift it up. Can you feel how the whole right side now knows to grow longer? Does your pelvis roll? I saw your pelvis rolls forwards now.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
I don't see your pelvis, but I see how you're doing it, so I know your pelvis is rolling forward.
It's interesting because, so these programs, they are all sequential in a way. They build on top of each other.
Absolutely. The programs are very definite. They are a program. You start with number 1, go 2, and each one of the, the neck and the back, the healthy necks and backs and so on, are 6 movement lessons, and they're very specific. So it gets the brain to a certain point from which we can build the next point, the next level of differentiation and integration, so on. So it progresses like that.
So it's basically what makes you healthier, stronger, and free of pain, and happier.
And smarter, because you become a person that starts noticing more awake, and the brain can make connections, unexpected connections between things, which are the creativity and the intelligence. It's how it works.
I mean, that's a beautiful way of explaining it, because you build on these different types of nuances. How often do you really pay attention to all these subtleties and get a moment to do this? I love it when you have instructional videos, because somebody else with all of your 30 years of experience are guiding me through these exercises, where if I just read it on a book and then did it by myself, I might get distracted or not understand it. But by you, I'm a visual learner, so by you showing me what it is that I need to do, especially when it comes to movement, it's extremely helpful and easy, and so I get the maximum benefits out of everything. And this is, again, for you. These are ways to increase the neuroplasticity in the brain through movement, through fitness, through different types of exercises that Anat Baniel is teaching you through these video lessons. And so by going to the website, which is theawareshow.com/Anat, A-N-A-T, there are literally hours and hours worth of instructional digital downloads. And this is, in many ways, these have helped. I mean, the stories that Anat has told at the beginning of the show were phenomenal. But what about for people that you've helped in just that don't have necessarily, they're not on the autistic spectrum or have other types of brain dysfunctions? Is there anything that you could share with us that have helped people like with back pain?
Like you and like everybody else. I have a lot of people, anywhere between their 20s, sometimes up to their 60s, but a lot like in the 20s to 40s that come and take my professional training program. And they do it because they want to become practitioners. And I can talk about their changes because they're fundamentally healthy people. So the flexibility, it's like unbelievable how much flexibility in terms of movement that they get. That some of them, I had the same experience, like dancers and so on, that they've worked on for years, martial artists and so on, and they have just those breakthroughs because all of a sudden the brain figures out how to do it. So the other myth is, practice makes perfect. Well, practice makes perfect if the brain gets new information with which to use the time you practice to make yourself more and more perfect, by approximations. But if you just repeat yourself, you groove in the good parts of what you do, but you also groove in the mistakes. And that's why people plateau so often in skiing, in everything. Most people reach sort of the midline, the mediocre level. But to excel, you really have to get yourself offline and feed your brain with new information and new experiences. So these people, the normal, and these are people I didn't even know they had it. My neck hurts me, or I'm carrying my baby and this happens.
Right.
And so the daily life gets to be it becomes a joy to move. It's sort of hard to say to people, but it's joyful, it's pleasurable. I take a walk, every step that I take, I go like, thank you. Just gratitude. Because it's so, not only that I can walk, but it just feels good to walk.
Yes.
It feels good to lift my arm. It feels good to breathe. It feels good to turn. So guess what happens? People move more. And then you can take it to dancing. People can dance better.
Yes.
And a lot of my students tell me that for them, actually, the most valuable thing is that they really increase their feeling that they're more intelligent. That the last training segment just finished last week, a woman said to me, the greatest gift I've gotten from you, she said, is I've learned to think better.
Wow. That is huge.
Yeah.
That is huge. And it's by learning new things, but it's the subtle distinctions that I believe that Anat is talking about through movement that make the biggest difference. It's the mindfulness around it. It's paying attention. It's working with the body's brain. I mean, you can't lift your arm unless your brain tells it to do so. So it's increasing those neural connections in an appropriate way, in the right way.
Yeah. And we do it, let me just, if I can mention, I know very little time, we can do it through, attention to what we feel as we move, lots and lots of variations, or kind of like mistakes, intentional mistakes. Very important for anybody who wants to get better or get rid of pain. Stop trying to do things right. Start experimenting with doing things wrong, so to speak. Variations, because that feeds the brain a huge amount of information. I learned that working with musicians. And since music is really variations in its core, I started doing it with them. And within minutes, people sometimes were ready to quit their career, and all of a sudden they were pain-free. So
wow.
It's very powerful. Slowing down, reducing the effort, enthusiasm, that means attention and celebration of small little changes. It amplifies it in the brain, and it grooves it into the brain. So don't wait and sulk on the side until there's the big miracle that happened. Every little change is a big change.
Okay, and now
it goes.
Can it also help with things like anti-aging by any chance?
Hugely.
Really? How?
I mean, I know it helps with a lot of things, helps athletes, helps all that stuff, but aging is the loss of differentiation in the brain. Aging is the loss of alertness and refinement in the brain. So if you think of birth, the most vital years, we get the most amount of new connections. That's what I call differentiation, new distinctions. And babies, by the way, spend the first few years just getting very interested in a little bit of that versus a little bit of this. That's how they grow. If they don't do it, they don't develop properly. And then we sort of kind of get to a place where we run our life, we learn some, but we have enough to work on. And then if we don't continue that process intentionally, it can be done through this way, and of course lots of other ways that offer that. then we start deteriorating and going downhill and losing differentiation. The good news about it, the brain, you can reverse it within minutes, and if you keep feeding the brain, there's research that shows that truly 100% change, and the training wasn't done physically. The training was done primarily through very small movements and small distinctions. I don't have time to go into details. And the muscles got back stronger, movement coordination got better, space perception got better, and cognitive problem solving got better.
Amazing.
It's low-hanging fruit. It's really such low-hanging fruit.
Awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, I mean, I definitely encourage you to go to get this offer, because this is something that we've added into our NeuroSummit. As you notice, we've carefully orchestrated this entire summit so that each show is different and gives you a different piece. By the end of this 10-day summit, you will have brand new tools and techniques on how to increase your memory, your cognitive function, your quick thinking, detoxify your body, and this is how to increase all of those things through movement distinctions. If you're one of that 80% of people that are walking around with neck pain and nagging back pain, and you don't have any way out of that, you're just dealing with it, inflammation through anti-inflammatory medications and so forth, there's subtle ways out of it that you can retrain your brain to reduce the pain center of the brain. Fascinating information. I love it. So also the desk trainer, it's a program that you can download onto your computer.
No, they can't download it. I'm so sorry. We will sign them up. It's a membership, but it doesn't matter. We'll just give it for free for a year.
That's awesome, and you can put it on your phone, and also you can have it wherever you are, and these are exercises that you can do from wherever you are. So that is a really, really cool thing. So that's a little bit about that. If you go to theawareshow.com/Anat, you can see this amazing offer. I think I don't even know. It's probably 40 hours worth of viewing material here, and you can do that with friends, with family, with yourself, with anyone. And it's getting yourself out of pain. This is providing the solutions and the choice and making choices available that it is possible to get out of pain and to be in a place of health, of a happy body, of great cognitive function, and of awareness about your body. We've lost touch in some ways about our body as fast as we move through life. So this is here to support you. Also for people that spend a lot of time on the computers, like myself, this is a good thing to do as well. So if you look at the website again, it's theawareshow.com/Anat, A-N-A-T. And let's see here. Gosh, healthy joints as well. There's so many different things, so many different transformational movement lessons that you will learn through these. And 30 years of work on this, right, Anat?
Oh, yeah, 30 years of work, and you mentioned inflammation. One of the things I discovered working with people with arthritis is that not that I do cure for arthritis, but their inflammation goes down and they can move. And so the reason I call it healthy backs, healthy necks, and not pain relief, is because the pain relief, if you use your back, you get strong, you get flexible, you get coordinated, you get powerful. People really, really get empowered physically, emotionally, and mentally.
That's one of my favorite things. That's my purpose on this planet, is to empower people. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Anat. You are.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure hanging out.
I know. This is
such a global playing field.
This is such a great way for people to see the exercises, because explaining them over the phone, as we've done in the past, have been, you have to explain all these. This is great, a great medium. So to all of the people that are listening, watch your email for the replay. You can share this with your friends. You can just forward the link to your friends and say, hey, check this out. These are great exercises. I know that you've had neck pain or back pain or whatever. So again, this is one of the best uses of this medium, is to have Anat Baniel on the show, and her vast years of experience and her incredible miraculous healings that she's done on people. You can read and hear about all of those in the video trainings that she does, because she talks about people that she's helped and the miracles that she's witnessed, and it's amazing. I mean, she's helped people walk again that were quote paralyzed. And the healing stories, as you heard in the beginning of the show, are miraculous. So again, it's through these types of exercises and understanding that transformational movement is possible. Thank you, Anat, so much.
Thank you, and your whole amazing team. Thank you.
Yes, my amazing team, Gina Salvati,
and the listeners. I want to congratulate the listeners for taking interest in all this topic. It's there in the front of the big wave, important wave into the future.
That is very, very true. And I want to thank my team, Gina Salvati, executive producer of The Aware Show. Thank you, Gina. And Cliff Schinkel, who's the chief engineer of The Aware Show. Bo Rinaldi, who's the business development manager of The Aware Show. And Joyce Walker, who's listening on the phone with all of our other listeners, who's a producer of The Aware Show as well. Thank you so much. And mostly thank you for your energy and your participation, because it's your energy that makes these shows possible. So thank you, and until next time, I invite you to stay aware.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, Anat.
Thank you. That was the best ever between the two of us.
It was so